What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a different sort of list video, and this is on the back of my terrible Ultimus 7 performance in raids on my live stream, and it got me thinking. There are quite a few really awful characters to fight in raids that really mess you up if you're not paying close attention, or are just really annoying to fight. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the 10 worst enemies to fight in raids, and I do want to say, while this is pretty general, it's ones I've noticed are super annoying in Ultimus 7 and some Greek raids. There might be some more annoying ones in previous raids, and please let me know in the comments below if I missed anyone that should have been on this list. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright, so this isn't particularly a top 10 list, this is just the 10 most annoying enemies that I've found, and there will be one or two honorable mentions as well. I put them all on my hearts list, but particularly we're going to start at the bottom. And let's see here, so who is at the bottom? Hand Sentry, so this is going to be my first one to pick here, and this can be pretty obvious, but the reason why, in case people aren't familiar with this character, it's Smoke Bomb. Now, he has been around for a very long time. He's, I'm pretty sure, one of the original characters to come to the game as a minion. Now, Smoke Bomb here, it applies stealth to all allies except self for 2 turns, apply evade to 4 allies. Now, this is pretty crucial, not necessarily the evade part, but the stealth part, putting everyone in stealth, kind of forcing you into hitting him. Also, he does have a 5% dodge rate, which for some reason, yes, 5% dodge rate here. This seems to happen more often than not than it should. AIs tend to have a bit higher dodge chance, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but I feel that any characters with any elevated dodge chance at all, seem to dodge more frequently than most. I don't know why. I think all hand characters have a base dodge rate of 5% unless it gives you extra. But I seem to get screwed over by Hand Sentry every now and then. But he's the first one on this list here. So moving on, who else do we have? Korath the Pursuer. Now, the reason why he makes the list, A, he's really fast, and this takedown shot, it is really powerful in Ultimus 7 higher raids. There's a few nodes particularly, definitely at the very last Ultimus boss node. I'm pretty sure there's a Korath Pursuer there, and he has one-shot my characters before with huge damage. And I'm pretty sure there are other nodes along the way that also contain Korath, and this hits really hard. I've had my Scream one-shot before, not necessarily my Anti-Venom, but if you have any characters that are kind of on the lower end of hit points, he can definitely take down shot. That's pretty aptly named there. There is a pretty good chance that he could one-shot you if you're not careful, depending on the difficulty of the raids that you're doing. So definitely annoying one there. I wouldn't say the other parts of his kit really are that annoying, but it's definitely the burst damage that comes from his ultimate, and that's why I had to include him on this list. It also does a heal block as well, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I've actually used Korath. Yeah, it does apply a heal block for 2 turns, which is kind of annoying, and very occasionally you can also get an ability block. Now moving on to the next one, who's on the list? Let's see, Shield Trooper. Yes, definitely Shield Trooper, very annoying, and really it comes down to his passive. So you'll notice that when you're fighting him in raids, often he's surrounded by other high-value targets that you want to kill, but when you attack them, obviously he counterattacks, so it doesn't even have to be other shield allies at all, it's just any ally. So as long as he's surrounded by anyone else, when you hit them, he retaliates for damage. And in higher-end raids, this could actually do quite a bit of damage, and it's really irritating too. And fortunately, the speed bar reduction when he crits doesn't actually make too much of a difference when you're attacking, I'm pretty sure, because you're already at 0 turn bar, unless I'm pretty sure this doesn't knock you into the negative turn bar, but please correct me down below if that's wrong. So the crit part is as basic does. He reduces speed bar in his basic, which is relevant, but I don't know if the passive part is all that relevant. Anyways, he does have a little bit of burst damage as well with his special, and it does do piercing too, but it's mostly because of the passive why he is on this list. Let's move on. Next one on this list, and this probably isn't too obvious here, Mordo. So the reason why he's on this list, he has actually a pretty annoying kit in general, but it's mostly this heal block. So his ultimate, Demons of Danak, is a 2-turn heal block AoE. So if you're relying on heals at all, which most raid teams do to some degree, definitely the symbiotes, any Minerva, really anyone that heals, frankly, this is really annoying. 2-turn heal block, and unless you have a way to cleanse it, then you're going to have to go through 2 turns without healing. His special is kind of annoying. Mesmerize, it does apply stun, 50% chance to stun, and blinds up to 3 targets, depending on how much of a pain this is, depending on what your resistance is and how high level your team is. It's usually, for me, it's just this heal block that's the main difference, the main issue. But yeah, Mordo is another really annoying character in raids, and he's actually he's there quite a bit, and for a character that was kind of lackluster in the past, he definitely serves his purpose in raids to be a thorn in your side. So he makes that list as well. Now, moving on as well, we have Doctor Strange. Now, when I was doing my live stream on Saturday, just the other day, I had a problem with Doctor Strange. So I buffed all my characters up with my symbiotes. I used Anti-Venom's ultimate. I wasn't really paying too close attention. And then boom, I get hit by Winds of Watum and flipped all of my regenerations into bleeds, actually killing pretty much most of my characters, and then the follow-up damage from all the other enemies, I was left pretty much defenseless. So this really has an easy way to kill you. If you're not too careful, especially if you're buff reliant, make sure that you don't put up any buffs knowing that Doctor Strange is going to take his turn. Otherwise, wait until after Doctor Strange takes his turn, or try to kill him before then, because this is a bit of a pain in the ass. If you leave him up for too long, then he's going to use Books of the Vishanti, which does admittedly take quite a while to get to. I think it's like turn 3 or 4, so you're unlikely to have this unless for some reason he's still up for a long time and he can revive another character back. Other than that, it's definitely the Winds of Watum. That's the thing that you have to be watching out for if you're fighting against Doctor Strange in raids. Now, coming up next, Mystique. Now, this probably is an obvious one as well, and that's because of her alt Shapeshifter. So this has the potential of you hitting your own character, and if you're using Black Bolt, for example, and we're going to get into this for another character later who's on this list as well, for a very similar reason, you guys can probably guess who that's going to be. If you have any high value characters that, especially Black Bolt is the #1, because if Black Bolt kills any of your characters, and then you're unable to revive them, at least in battle. So this is a super pain in the ass, and just in general, because your characters are probably going to be pretty strong, so they have a good chance of hitting each other for quite a bit of damage as well. So this is the #1 issue with Mystique. Not to mention when you're running the symbiotes, I believe she has a lot of resistance against bleed, which a lot of the symbiotes do for most of their damage. So in some of the higher end Ultimus 7 nodes, it does actually take a little bit to kill her. And sometimes she does end up getting her ultimate off against me. Other than that, nothing too major, but definitely the ultimate, watch out for this. It has the potential to one-shot one of your characters. Now next on the list, I should have done this at the same time as Shield Trooper, but Shield Security for a very similar reason, but mostly due to the passive. So when an ally drops below 50% health, gain Taunt. If that ally is Nick Fury or Shield Minion, gain defense up. Now, there's often a lot, not necessarily Nick Fury, although you do see Nick Fury alongside Shield Security in Ultimus 7, but if there's any other Shield Minions as well, Shield Trooper particularly, he gains defense up when he taunts. Otherwise, any other ally or enemy that you're fighting that also Shield Security is with, he's going to constantly taunt below 50% health, and this kind of detracts you from being able to kill the sort of the higher quality targets that you're looking to get on raids, unless you have just a Black Bolt AoE or something to get rid of this symbiotes, clearing the taunt. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck against Shield Security. So this is another pain in the ass that sometimes comes up in various raid nodes, and I wanted to kind of point that out as well. Otherwise, actually, you know what? His crowd control can, if you're in a really higher level Ultimus raid node, this can actually hurt quite a bit. Crowd control, the stun baton thing. If your target has slow, it also applies stun, so hopefully you don't have slow. If you do, you might get stunned, and it just double taps you for a lot of damage. It's pretty bursty, actually, so be on the watch for that. That does a lot of damage. And in general, just Shield Security is a bit of a pain in the ass. That's why he made this list. Next, now this is very similar to Mystique. We have Loki. Now, this probably isn't too much of a surprise either. Really, it's Mind Control. Apply defense down to the primary target for 2 turns. Mind Control 1 enemy, and 20... I think... I'm not sure on Ultimate 7 if it is a level 7 special or not. So sometimes there's a chance for 1 Mind Control or 2. I just forget if it's level 6 or level 7 in Ultimus 7. But yeah, this is a real pain in the ass for double the reason why it is for Mystique, and so you're twice as likely to get hit by multiple targets or multiple of your own team members. And again, if you have Black Bolt on your team, then this can really cause some problems. If you're running like a combination of Black Bolt with symbiotes or Black Bolt with Minerva, this could cause problems with Minerva or Anti-Venom trying to bring somebody back, because if Black Bolt kills somebody, then they're not coming back in the battle. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And the other reason why he's such a pain in the ass is also because he kind of goes a bit quicker. So on spawn, filled speed bar by 15%, filled the speed bar of Mystic Controller. So it's really about this. It kind of puts him ahead of everyone else, especially on spawn. So if you're fighting him in the first wave, then often he will kind of go before a lot of your other characters. So you do have to watch out for that. Otherwise, not too much of a pain in the ass. The ultimate, if he does get to that, usually is actually beneficial to you, especially if you're running the symbiotes, because then you can chew up the extra characters for extra healing and whatnot. So it's mainly to do with the mind control, and yeah, he is a pain. He's also in the alpha cosmic lane as well that I've been doing recently, and very occasionally I've had a misfire, even though I'm like well overpowered for that node. But yeah, he definitely appears elsewhere, I'm sure, but Ultimus 7 and in Alpha Cosmic is where I'm seeing him currently right now as of this video. So and there's a couple more left. Magneto. Definitely had to mention this because I'm currently doing Ultimus 7, the middle lanes, and he appears, I believe, 3 times throughout the middle lane, and I think it's 2 boss nodes and 1 regular node. Super pain in the ass. Normally comes alongside Juggernaut and Pyro normally, even other characters that have sort of adjacency attacks. So his magnetic vortex pulls all of you together within, you know, so you're gonna get, all your characters are gonna get clumped together unless you resist it, which often is hard. It is unavoidable, it cannot be counterattacked. So and it applies blind. So depending on what team you're using, this can be really crippling. And when I'm running through this, I need to make sure that I have all of my cooldowns ready for Magneto so I can stun him with Symbiote Spider-Man, or ability block with Venom or something like that, that I need to kind of make sure he doesn't pull this move off. Because if he pulls off the Vortex move, then I'll often be susceptible to characters like Pyro's special, Juggernaut's ult, other things that can sort of do AoE damage to hit all of my characters at the same time. So Magneto, another pain in the ass raid character. He doesn't appear too much in the Greek raids. I'm not even sure if he does necessarily, but I think he does appear fairly frequently in Ultimus 7. I know I do mainly the middle lane, so I'm not too sure if he shows up on the side lanes. Do let me know if he's also there as well. That's not what I do in my alliance. So yeah, Magneto is one of the more stronger characters that does make this list, and definitely a pain in the ass in more recent raids. Now there's one more character that I wanted to bring up, but first there is 2 honorable mentions that I wanted, so we need to scroll back for that. First one is the Hulk. He shows up very occasionally as well in Ultimus 7, and definitely has shown up in the past, I believe, in Ultimus 6 and some other ones. And now that he's had a rework a little bit, the reason why he's such a pain in the ass is because under 50% health, and you probably know this from doing a lot of Blitz in the past as well, that under 50% health, he gains a lot of speed bar, and he gains offense up, clearing like stun and other things. And basically what happens is you get him under 50% health, he gets the offense up, and then he goes into leap typically. Because normally by that point he's already taunted or doing whatever, and that's why you had to hit him in the first place, and then he goes straight into a leap. So this does a lot of damage, because if he's below 50% health, then his damage is multiplied. So this is offense up multiplied by 1.5, you know, and it does a lot of damage. In the past I have been one-shot by this attack, and even in Ultimus 7 it is quite annoying, and it can do quite a bit of damage if you're not careful. So yeah, Hulk gets the honorable mention for this because he's just one of those characters that if he is strong enough, he can do quite a bit of damage, even though, you know, nobody really uses him that much. You know, he's not really a high priority build for just in general in the game, but in terms of raid targets, yeah, he's super annoying sometimes because of that leap damage, and just in general going back between sort of offense up, low health and high health with the taunt and stuff like that, and doing a boatload of damage when he's low health. So yeah, really annoying there. And the second honorable mention before we get to the final one, Vision. The reason why he's on this list, A, because he has an increased dodge chance, and anyone who has increased dodge chance for the AI normally gets impacted, or normally receives a bit more of a bonus. I always find, like, again, call me crazy, I feel the characters with enhanced dodge rate seem to dodge more on the AI side of things. Maybe that's just me. Vision definitely dodges a lot when I'm fighting him, and that's why I have to make sure I use things like Venom's basic and anti-Venom's basic, just to make sure it always lands, because you can't dodge those. And the other reason why he's on this list is, with this honorable mentions list anyways, is because of Dive Bomb. It applies ability block, and this can be a real pain in the ass if you don't deal with them. Solar Beam clears all your positive effects if you have any up, and so he is a pretty strong character, so you do need to make sure you watch out for him and make sure you get him killed as soon as possible, and try not to have him dodge too many of your attacks. Try not to use your ultimate attacks that might get dodged, because I've definitely, you know, this happens a lot, especially with Spider-Man and other characters where they just dodge, the AI just dodges everything. So yeah, keep an eye out for him. And for the final character on this list, probably no surprise, but Venom, for a very similar reason as Mordo, and it has to do with his ultimate corruption. This happens quite frequently. It's applying heal block again for 2 turns, so a lot of these annoying raid characters are just there to get in your way with heal block, just like Mordo. I think there might be a few other heal blocks, like Mysterio, but I don't know if he shows up that much in raids. That's why he didn't really make this list, but Venom definitely does show up in quite a few nodes, and he spreads any additional negative effects around to your different characters. So luckily it doesn't spread stun, but the heal block is the thing that really makes him annoying. If he does live long enough, then he might ability block some of your characters, and you do need to keep an eye out for that. But mainly it's all the heal block that he does, and he's fairly beefy in terms of hit points, so make sure you don't leave him around too long, otherwise he'll start heal blocking your characters. And those were the 12, I guess. There was 10 and 2 honorable mentions. Let me know if I missed anyone, if there's anyone I should have considered for this list. I know there's probably a couple more that I could have added onto that, but I didn't want to have too long of a video. But there are a lot of annoying raid characters out there, so let me know if there's particular raid characters or raid enemies that you guys find annoying and that maybe causes you troubles when you're doing your raids. But these are some of the ones that causes me trouble when I'm doing my Ultimus 7, especially when RNG is going bad. So that's the end of this video, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please smash that like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylon signing out.